Tiffany, now fully under the control of this supernatural presence, forms a giant slush ball the size of a dodgeball. With a flick of her wrist, in astonishing speed and accuracy, she hurls it at Olivia's head. Olivia is sent hurtling out of her chair, crashing against the chalkboard behind her. The impact is explosive. The collision creates a spectacular frozen cascade of ice and syrup. Olivia lies on the floor, drenched, sticky, and disoriented, her face a frozen, sugary, colorful mess. Tiffany watches in awe as she experiences the incredible powers she never imagined possessing. The reaction of the college classroom is pure chaos. College students scramble in every direction, fleeing from the spectacle in a flurry of panic and fear. Tiffany focuses her attention on Brenda, forming yet another massive slushy projectile. With a swift and precise throw, she propels it at Brenda. The slushy strikes Brenda with such force that she's knocked clear out of her shoes. She crashes into panicked classmates, and they tumble to the floor in a daze. Brenda shivers, laying in a frozen mound of red ice. Tiffany turns to find Kelsey, but she's escaped with the other fleeing students. She eagerly wants to catch Kelsey, but Tiffany isn't done with the softball bullies, Olivia and Brenda, just yet. Tiffany easily grabs them both, one in each hand. Tiffany, in reference to Olivia's earlier comment, hears her voice speak. "Let's see how fancy your underwear are, Olivia." With a swift motion, she gives Olivia an unforgettable wedgie with her left hand. Olivia's underwear is a stretchy pink thong. With her incredible strength, she pulls Olivia's thong up to the back of her neck. Olivia's butt crack is wedgied beyond belief. Olivia's face contorts in humiliation as her own underwear is weaponized against her. Tiffany turns to Brenda and with a grin says, "Let's see how high your underwear can go, Brenda." She gives Brenda a wedgie with her right hand. Brenda's underwear is a light blue bikini cut with a red polka dot pattern. Tiffany seizes the opportunity to deliver a wedgie like no other. Using her extraordinary strength, Tiffany gives Brenda a superhuman wedgie. With astonishing force, she yanks Brenda's underwear to her shoulders. Brenda's butt crack is mercilessly wedgied. Wincing, Brenda can't help but let out a pained gasp, her legs trembling under the extreme tension. Tiffany's supernatural strength has left Brenda with a wedgie that is nothing short of crippling, causing serious discomfort and damage. Tiffany expertly ties Olivia's thong through Brenda's leg band openings, effectively connecting the two girls by their underwear. She lifts them off the ground and drapes their underwears over the class's flag holster. As she prepares to leave the two humiliated bullies, Tiffany says, "Maybe you two should discuss respect while you're up there. It's been nice hanging with you." With a flourish, she takes off, leaving Olivia and Brenda in their wedgies. Tiffany has a bigger bitch to fry. Tiffany uses heat-seeking vision to locate Kelsey. She's amazed at the newfound powers her body has acquired. Tiffany soon finds Kelsey in a crowded cafeteria kitchen, teeming with other students. The students band together, all ready to fight, completely unaware of Tiffany's true abilities. However, Tiffany uses a telekinetic ability, deftly trapping the students in place. She easily walks past them toward the cowering Kelsey. As Tiffany reaches Kelsey, mixed feelings course through her. Amazement of her power, yet pity for the lesson Kelsey is about to learn. Tiffany grabs a vat of slushy and proceeds to dump it down the back of Kelsey's pants, causing her butt to freeze and shiver. With a mischievous grin, Tiffany taunts, "I bet I can get your underwear on your head." She proceeds to deliver an otherworldly wedgie to Kelsey in front of everyone. Kelsey's boy shorts are pink, covered with adorable pandas in various playful poses. It's evident that these undies were chosen for their cuteness, a stark contrast to Kelsey's tough girl status. Kelsey's face turns beet red, and her image crumbles as she's subjected to the most embarrassing wedgie of her life. Tiffany starts repeatedly, forcefully yanking her underwear up and down in rapid succession. She's determined to stretch out Kelsey's underwear. The icy slushy soaking into Kelsey's underwear intensifies the sharp, freezing, and painful sensation. The underwear crushes and jams shaved ice into her butt crack. She's subjected to the most severe wedgie imaginable. People in the kitchen cringe. Some close their eyes, unable to bear witness to such a malevolent display. Tiffany can't help but feel sorry for Kelsey, but the possession makes it impossible for her to stop. With a profound tug, Tiffany rips a hole in the center of Kelsey's pink panda panties, allowing her to stretch them over her head. Tiffany confidently announces, "Chill out. Think before you wage your next wedgie." One thing is for sure, no one will ever see Kelsey as a tough girl again. Tiffany, lost in the surge of her newfound powers and anger, unleashes a telekinetic fury that sweeps through the kitchen. The students find themselves lifted off the ground by their underwear. Their expressions of pain and humiliation are evident as they dangle in the air like hovering spirits. Amidst Tiffany's vulgar display of power, her gaze falls upon Alyssa amongst the sea of wedgie victims. Alyssa's unwavering kindness strikes a chord with Tiffany, and in that moment, a flicker of control returns. Alyssa drops to the floor. Alyssa then recognizes the tormented wedgie monster as Tiffany, piecing together the torment that must have driven her to this point. Alyssa rushes to Tiffany. Desperation in her voice, Tiffany gasps, "My wedgie! Remove my wedgie!" Hastily, Alyssa rushes behind Tiffany and lifts her superhero cape. Alyssa is greeted with the most horrific super wedgie she's ever witnessed. Tiffany's costume is consumed by her butt, completely buried beyond visibility. Alyssa's determination kicks in as she grabs a spatula from a nearby counter and slides it between Tiffany's costume and her lower back. She pries downward, and with a mighty tug, Alyssa successfully separates Tiffany's wedgie from her butt crack. Tiffany is finally freed from the cursed underwear's grip. The release sends everyone to the ground, clutching their sore cheeks and adjusting their wedgies. Tiffany's powerful aura diminishes, and her costume begins to morph back into its original form. The visor reattaches to the cape. The costume shrinks and reshapes, returning to a giant pair of underwear. Tiffany, now herself again, turns to Alyssa with a look of concern. She explains to her friend that the haunted underwear was once her Aunt Margaret's, and that she believes they need to do something about it before her spirit takes control again. Alyssa, still processing the bizarre events, suggests, "I have a Ouija board at my parents' home. Maybe we can communicate with Margaret's spirit and put her to rest." Tiffany, with a touch of humor in her voice, asks, "Is it more appropriate to call it a wedgie board at this point?" They both share a knowing laugh and agree. With a plan in place, Tiffany and Alyssa drive away from the college and head to Alyssa's home to uncover the mysteries of the possessed pair of panties. As Tiffany and Alyssa arrive at the massive, castle-like home, they are greeted by a grand facade that exudes a sense of grandeur. The mansion features a medieval-style wine cellar, suits of armor standing guard in the hallway, and an enormous stone fireplace that roars with warmth and character. Tiffany can't help but notice the stark contrast between her own humble background and Alyssa's opulent upbringing. It's clear that Alyssa isn't wedgied and slushied over financial challenges on a daily basis. Inside, they are welcomed by Alyssa's mother, who inquires if they've seen the news from the campus. She turns on the television to Channel 3 and increases the volume. "Good evening, folks. We've got a story that sounds like it's straight out of a comic book, but it happened right on our very own college campus. In a shocking turn of events, a supervillain hospitalized 3 women with slushy scrapes and wedgie wounds." That's right, our superhero of the day, going by the name the Wedgie Avenger, took bullying into her own hands. Now you might think this was all fun and games, but oh no. The Wedgie Avenger didn't pull any punches, but she did pull plenty of underwear. This superhero didn't just throw slushies, she launched them like missiles. These slushies hit their targets with such force that some poor souls were literally knocked out of their shoes. Now that's what we call a cool way to make an entrance. But that's not all, folks. The Wedgie Avenger gave wedgies so intense that 2 girls found themselves hanging by their underwear. One poor soul even suffered the dreaded atomic slushy wedgie. We'll leave it to your imagination to determine what that is. To top it all off, the Wedgie Avenger used what can only be described as telekinetic powers to lift people off the ground by their wedgies. It was like a scene out of a sci-fi movie, but with a humorous twist of underwear. Now, let's switch over to the latest developments on the slushy wedgie incident. Our trusty fire department has quite the rescue mission on their hands, folks. The screen shows footage of the fire department carefully lowering Brenda and Olivia from the flag holster. The camera then captures paramedics attending to Brenda and Olivia, treating them for slushy cuts and the notorious wedgie burn. Olivia looks up and says, "Is this going to be on TV? Don't air this." A reporter says, "This is live coverage. Keep rolling. We want to document everything." Brenda can be seen swatting the camera as it shakes and falls to the ground. The screen cuts to footage of officials using a hairdryer to thaw out Kelsey's frozen butt so they can remove her severe wedgie. Now, we're being advised that viewers must not attempt the slushy wedgie challenge popularized by the social media platform Shit Talk. Alyssa and Tiffany exchange anxious glances as they realize the gravity of the situation. Alyssa quickly speaks, "Oh, Mom, we're just as surprised as you are by that slushy wedgie superhero. It's so bizarre." Her mother nods and replies, "Well, you two be careful out there. Wedgies can be dangerous." Alyssa and Tiffany run off to Alyssa's room. They sit down with the wedgie board, ready to make contact with the spirit of Margaret. They place their hands gently on the planchette, their fingers barely touching, and close their eyes. With a sense of anticipation, they begin to ask questions, invoking the spirit of Margaret. "Margaret, are you there?" Alyssa asks. The planchette starts to move, guided by an unseen force pointing to yes. Tiffany continues. "Margaret, we want to understand what's happened. Can you tell us more?" As they speak, the room grows colder, and a shadowy figure begins to take shape. Margaret's ghost appears, her form translucent and shrouded in darkness. She speaks with a haunting and sorrowful tone. She tells the girls about how she was abandoned by Tiffany's grandmother when she was just a baby. She endured relentless bullying about her weight, and as she grew older, she was rejected by the people in this town for her lack of money and accomplishments. She lived a short and miserable life, always feeling alone. Alyssa and Tiffany listen in silence, their hearts heavy with empathy for Margaret. Margaret continues. "Everyone assumed it was my weight that caused my death, but the truth is, the townspeople caused it. They made me feel like an outcast, and I turned to food to cope with my anger and loneliness. The stress and comfort eating took its toll, leading to my untimely heart problems." Tears well up in Tiffany's eyes as she realizes the depth of Margaret's suffering. She thinks to herself, Margaret's story is heartbreaking, and she blames the people in this town for her pain and isolation. Then, Margaret insists, "We must all work together to seek vengeance on the town that caused me so much pain." The atmosphere is thick with anger and resentment, and the girls exchange worried glances. Alyssa steps forward, her voice trembling. "Margaret, we understand your pain, but we can't resort to heart-attacking, slushying, and wedging the townspeople. Revenge won't bring you peace. It won't fix what happened to you." Tiffany adds, "We need to find another way, one that brings healing." But Margaret's anger boils over, and she starts using her ghostly powers to launch furniture around the room. The girls duck and dodge the flying objects, their fear growing. Desperate to find a solution, Tiffany says, "Alyssa, give me a wedgie." Alyssa, dodging a lamp, stares at Tiffany in confusion. Tiffany clarifies, "Maybe if you give me a wedgie, I will become possessed by Margaret. Maybe I can stop her from within myself." Alyssa hesitates, worried about the consequences of giving Tiffany a wedgie. She reminds Tiffany, "The possession took full control last time." But Tiffany replies, "When I felt the bond of friendship, I was able to regain control." With a deep breath, Alyssa nods. "All right, Tiffany, I trust you. Let's hope that the power of love will guide you this time." Alyssa takes a deep breath and reaches for the giant underwear. She delicately tugs it upwards, attempting a gentle wedgie, not wanting to hurt Tiffany. But nothing seems to happen. Tiffany feels the undies inching up her butt, but there's no sign of her superpowers returning. Alyssa gives it a bit more effort. She continues to pull the undies into a deeper wedgie, but still, it wasn't working. Tiffany implores Alyssa while dodging a flying shield. "It must be an atomic wedgie. I need it over my head so it can fully fuse to my body." Alyssa nods and focuses all her energy on the wedgie. The underwear is tugged harder against Tiffany's butt, causing a severe wedgie. When the waistband gets on Tiffany's head, with a burst of energy, she feels her superpowers returning. She transforms back into a superhero. Now in the spirit and superhuman realm, Tiffany is ready to face her Aunt Margaret. Furniture immediately stops flying and a sense of calm washes over the scene. It's almost as if they had already won. Then, Alyssa's eyes widen in shock as Tiffany's visor begins to glow red. It becomes painfully clear that this is no longer Tiffany, but instead, the malevolent spirit of Margaret. Margaret, now controlling Tiffany's body, emanates an aura of dark energy that sends shivers down Alyssa's spine. Margaret lunges at Alyssa, but Alyssa rolls to the side just in time. Margaret falls on her stomach. Alyssa realizes the gravity of the situation. She knows that to stop Margaret, she must somehow dislodge the possessed underwear from Tiffany's wedgie. She grasps Tiffany's costume, frantically trying to undo the wedgie, but it's as if the undies are now permanently attached to Tiffany. They're stuck in her butt crack. Margaret, still trapped in Tiffany's body, smirks with wicked satisfaction. She's unstoppable, and with the wedgie firmly in place, she's ready to continue her malevolent mission. Alyssa gasps in shock as Margaret gives her a wedgie literally from hell. It's a wedgie from the depths of darkness, the likes of which Alyssa has never experienced before. Margaret, with her malevolent powers, makes the underwear attack with a ferocity that defies the laws of nature. The wedgie, coupled with the malevolence of Margaret, is nothing short of terrifying. Alyssa grits her teeth and clenches her butt cheeks, determined to fight back. Then, Margaret unleashes a final malevolent act of wedgie torment. With unimaginable force, she drives the wedgie so impossibly deep that it tears through Alyssa's body, splitting her in two. Blood-curdling screams pierce the air as Alyssa's life is brutally extinguished. Now, with the power of a superhuman body at her disposal, Margaret embarks on a reign of terror that engulfs the land in darkness. She inflicts torment and suffering on an unprecedented scale. The town descends into chaos and despair as there is no escape from her malevolent grip.